of itself. With that, let me bring in Ana Navarro, our CNN political commentator, and Matt Schlapp, former political director for President George W. Bush and the chairman of the American Conservative Union. Nice to see both of you. And we should at least add, we have now heard from Republicans and Democrats who are calling for this bipartisan independent investigation of Michael Flynn. But that said, Ana Navarro, you emailed me this morning because you told me you were angry. Why?
Because, it's taken Republicans so long to really speak up and get behind folks like John McCain and Lindsey Graham, who for months have been asking for a select committee to be named to investigate Russian ties into election hacking and all of these different questions that have arisen on Russia. I just don't understand what my party leadership is doing. We know that Putin is a thug. We know he is no ally or friend of the United States. Why not get to the bottom of this? The integrity of our democratic institutions, of our political institutions, is too important and should be beyond and above partisanship. There are such serious questions here that threaten our political institutions and the democratic integrity. And Republican leadership needs to say loud and proud right now, our loyalty is with our nation, not with a president who happens to be of our same party. We all know that if this had been happening under a Hillary Clinton, under a Barack Obama presidency, Republicans would be all over the place trying to investigate it. I just think they need to be consistent with Republican values, the values I grew up with.
Matt?
So when Susan Rice went on all the Sunday morning talk shows and was not honest about the reasons for the Benghazi disaster, Republicans were upset. But we didn't call it a constitutional crisis. The fact is this: the president decided to not take actions against his aide who did not tell the truth. In this case,
ultimately
Donald
you had
Trump,
a mega Benghazi investigation.
Benghazi was a disaster, but the president himself did not take any actions against staff. This president, when faced with what seems to be the fact that General Flynn mischaracterized and maybe dissembled about these conversations, he forced his resignation. So I think actually, it's okay, even if you don't like Donald Trump in this case, to say it was the right thing for him to do to accept the resignation.
Anna, can you give President Trump credit there?
No, I can't. First of all, I don't know if he forced the resignation or if the guy resigned, because all of Trump's aides have gone on TV and said different things. It'd be nice if they could at least get on the same page as to whether they're going to say truths or lies or alternative facts. It's very hard to follow what happened because within hours of each other, they are totally in conflict with what they are saying. But more than that, look, what they had the vice president go out there and say something that wasn't true because he had been lied to. And really, we all know that if it wasn't because these lies by Michael Flynn were exposed by the media, he'd probably still be in there. I just think we've got to stop covering for this stuff.
No.
We are not doing our party, we're not doing our country any favors by looking the other way and playing dumb with what is going on in front of our eyes. The Russian ties with the Trump administration are very
Hang on, both of you. Hold on. Let me just jump in because I do want to play some sound. I want you to react to this. This was a Trump surrogate on CNN this morning. Here's what he said.
Misled, maybe even lied to other members of the White House. Why is everybody so quiet?
Well, it's Valentine's Day, and I guess they're having breakfast with their wives. I think it's just time to move on, find the replacement. I certainly know dialogue. He would be a great person to replace him, the others as well. So.
Right.
I'm in a let's move on. We've got a lot of issues to deal with, as was mentioned, North Korea, the travel ban, continuing discussions with Russia. It's a busy White House, so General Flynn did what he thought was in the best interests of the country. I certainly respect that, and I think it's just time to move on.
Matt, move on? You can at least agree.
No,
we're not
I
moving
agree.
on from this.
No, I agree with Anna that there are questions that need to be answered, and I have no problem with that. Remember, this whole thing came about not because of what happened in the media. This whole thing came about because General Flynn's, the transcripts or whatever, his conversations with his Russian counterpart were listened to. And that evidence
Right, but there were
I
leaks and great journalism that definitely led to this.
Brooke, I'm not saying that journalism, I'm not saying did anything wrong here either. I'm sure the journalists did their job, but I'm also saying the people inside the government did their job, and they went up through the ranks at DOJ, and eventually this resulted in the president saying, I accept this resignation, which I think is the right thing. I think it's perfectly adequate for Anna and other people to ask questions about our Russia policy. I think Congress should always investigate. It's their job. They're a separate branch of government. I have no problem with them having hearings. I just don't think we need to. Let's ask all the questions that the American people want to know. Let's answer them. And let's get about the real issues here. And the real issues here is not rehashing what happened with General Flynn. The real issues here are what's our stance towards Russia, and is it the right policy?
No, and on
listen,
Russian
of
policy,
course,
on
no,
Russian
but listen,
policy,
the Flynn issue is a very real
let's
issue.
Listen to Sean Spicer.
Because
Hang on, Anna. On Russian policy, this is just what Sean said in the briefing, and then I want to talk to you.
The irony of this entire situation is that the president has been incredibly tough on Russia. He continues to raise the issue of Crimea, the previous administration had allowed to be seized by Russia. His ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, stood before the UN Security Council on her first day and strongly denounced the Russian occupation of Crimea. As Ambassador Haley said at the time, the, quote, dire situation in eastern Ukraine is one that demands clear and strong condemnation of Russian actions. President Trump has made it very clear that he expects the Russian government to de-escalate violence in the Ukraine and return Crimea. At the same time, he fully expects to and wants to be able to get along with Russia, unlike previous administrations, so that we can solve many problems together facing the world, such as the threat of ISIS and terrorism.
In what alternate universe has Trump ever been tough on Russia? He has never said a bad word about Vladimir Putin. Anna.
Look, I don't know in what alternate universe. I certainly don't live in that alternate universe. And I do think that the Flynn issue is a very real issue. Because if he was having conversations with Russian officials during the campaign, I think the American public wants to know. This is not just one more level of a mounting mountain of evidence of troublesome Russia-Trump ties. I'll give you some. Manafort, the second campaign manager who had to quit because of his Russian ties.
Can I jump in here, Brooke?
Sure, go ahead.
Jump in.
The bottom is, let's talk about the facts. What we're talking about is that this conversation, Anna, happened after the election. It happened in December. That's what they're talking about. And some Democrats are saying, yes, that this might have broke the Logan Act. Everyone else I talked to in foreign policy circles, Democrats and Republicans, says it was perfectly reasonable for General Flynn to have that conversation. I don't think anybody disagrees with any of the facts that Sean Spicer spoke about at the podium today in terms of Russia, but I will agree with you that it seems pretty clear that President Trump is intent on thawing our relations with Russia, which are not in a good. Not because he thinks he's a great guy. Matter of fact, I think he's a terrible guy. I think it's because he realizes we have to deal with him.
Do you think he'll pivot now that Flynn is out? Well, he'll change his tune on Vladimir Putin?
My view is that Donald Trump would like to start off with a warmer relationship with Russia and with Vladimir Putin, and over time, Vladimir Putin will prove himself to be, as he has proven to the previous two presidents, nothing but a thug.
Well, listen, I stand with John McCain. I think there is a mountain level of evidence here that should be troublesome to every single American, regardless of party. I'd like for Congress, for the Intel Committee, to be able to talk to the AG, who was fired and who informed the White House weeks and weeks ago about what was happening with Flynn. I would like to know why they thought he was blackmailable by the Russian people.
Anna,
I would like to know what those conversations are.
They can do it today, though.
Well,
all they do is have to.
So why don't they? Why hasn't Republican leadership? We've known about this for so long.
Congress already has come out.
They've taken a very long time.
Brooke,
we have a president who has equated us more, given us a moral equivalency.
Look, let's talk about the issue.
Don't tell me to stop. Listen, if you want to tell the people in your house
you can
to
yell
stop,
all
that's
you want.
perfectly. You're the one yelling at me.
Anna.
You're the one telling me to stop. I think you're a little. You're talking to the wrong girl, Matt. You're talking to the wrong girl. You can go say stop to somebody else. You can. You're not going to stop me, baby. Sure, go ahead.
Let's talk about the facts. Congress has the ability to have those hearings at any time. There are already Republicans who have said, have you not listened to what Senator Johnson has said? Have you not listened to what Senator Blunt has said? They think there are very real issues. They agree that there are real issues that Congress needs to have hearings on. And I think that they're being responsible and asking for them.
Great. Then you and I are in unison. We should have a select committee to investigate the Russia issues.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Anna Navarro and Matt Schlapp, thank you both so much. Thank you.